Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sarcoidosis. Today, of course, I'm on the road and I am with the legendary Ibaka, the international vocalist in Lake Las Vegas, Nevada. And welcome to the show, Ibaka. It's so really nice to meet you finally.
It's so nice to meet you too as well, Dorothea. And I'm really happy to be able to be a part of your program. I often watch your program and I love it. It's very informative and I think it's something that people really do need to know about. I admire you for your mission and your passion because you also live with it yourself firsthand. So I admire you for wanting to get the word out.
Thank you so much, Ibaka. Now, the question is for all the viewers out there, who is Ibaka?
Well, that could take 2 hours. However, but I'm just going to sum it up very short and say that Ibaka is American. I'm American, Nashville, born from Nashville, Tennessee, and I am a BJ and G classic vocalist, international vocalist, and some people might want to say, what is BJ and G? And BJ and G stands for Blues, Jazz, and Gospel classic vocalist. I'm international and I've been singing all over the world for about 20 years.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, when did you start singing?
Well, I always say that I started singing straight from the womb. And that is because my mother, Marianne Jackson, she was a vocalist as well. And she sang while she was pregnant with me the entire time. So I came out breech birth.
Wow.
Ready to dance because she was also a dancer.
Okay.
And so I always say I started singing at that time. But all jokes aside, professionally, I started singing, I sang in the school choir, but professionally I started singing when I was about, goodness gracious, I would say in my 20s.
Okay. So with that being said, how was it like really growing up in your household with everybody being so musically inclined?
It was fabulous. It was fabulous growing up listening to all types of music. I grew up with all types of music, and of course my childhood also was very particular because my mother being a vocalist and traveling herself all over the world, I grew up on a carnival when I was up until I was 5 years old, time to go to school. But I grew up on a carnival, riding rides all day and the roundup and all that kind of stuff. And my mother sang, and she told me I would come out on the stage with my little Texas boots on, and I would be singing, "You talk too much 'cause you worry me to death."
Okay.
So she said she knew right then I was like, destined also, even though she did not want me to be a vocalist, but I had no other choice. So I grew up with all kinds of music, listening, and as a matter of fact, the news of yesterday of Nancy Wilson passing really hit home for me because I did grow up listening to Nancy Wilson, and I gathered a lot of my vocal techniques from Nancy Wilson. And she is a legend in herself, and she left a legacy where she taught many of the vocalists what it is to be a classic, dynamic, classy vocalist.
She definitely was that. And I know you mentioned that you really did not want to be a singer, so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the reason I didn't want to be a vocalist is because I thought I was going to be a professional dancer. And I studied dancing for 16 years, and I did all types of recitals, and I was even recruited, well, they wanted to recruit me, the Alvin Ailey dancers.
Oh, okay.
And I would have been the youngest dancer on the troupe. And but my mother said no. I was 11 years old at the time, and they told her not to worry. They would put me, have tutoring and all that sort of thing. But she said no. Of course, I was upset. I didn't understand it at the time, but I do understand her fear as a single mother and wanting to make sure I would be okay. So, but she said no, and I continued to dance. And like I said, I sang, but I sang in groups with the choir in school and the Christmas carols and that sort of thing. And theatrics, I studied theatrics and plays. I did plays and stuff like that. So I was comfortable singing in a group, not as a lead vocalist. And so that's why I thought I was going to be a dancer.
So in your family, you come from a background with many musicians. So how many musicians were in your family?
Oh my God. Well, I'm just going to say offhand from my immediate family, I would say five. Like my grandfather, my grandmother, my mother, my father, and me.
Okay.
Of course, I have to be included in there.
Of course.
But my grandfather was a very renowned pianist, and he also was a renowned promoter, and from Memphis, Tennessee, and he. During the time of segregation, when the black musicians did not have any work, he gave them work at the Bijou Theater and helped them to be able to continue to work and feed their families.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, let's talk about Italy. I mean, how in the world did you get overseas, ended up living there for like 20 years, and now you go back and forth? As of today, you're still, back and forth commuting back from Nevada to Italy. So how did that come about?
Well, it came about, I was actually a lead vocalist in a gospel group. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I was singing with the Burning Bush. It was the name of the group, and we ended up having a tour in Italy for 3 weeks, and we opened up for Dee Dee Bridgewater in Bordighera and many other people as well. And at that particular time, I was like, because like I said, I was not really doing it professionally. I was actually singing because I loved singing, and I wasn't really looking. I was actually working in the hotel industry as a manager and for the Marriott. But afterwards, after going there and having that 3-week tour, that's when it actually hit me, when I came back home, that I wanted to pursue being a professional vocalist, which was very surprising to me as well, because no one believes me when I say it, but I'm actually very shy. And so, but that is when I realized that I was supposed to be singing.
So how did actually living there come about? Like you actually,
Okay, so
being a
after
resident.
returning back home to the States, the Burning Bush broke up, and I happened to find the information of the promoter, and I sent the promoter a message, a fax, telling him I didn't know if he remembered me, that I was the lead vocalist for the Burning Bush, and I wanted to let him know I was available if he had any work. And 2 weeks later, he responded to me saying that he absolutely remembered me, and that he would be willing to put together a band in Italy specifically for me. And that's how I started going to Italy. And before deciding to live there, I traveled back and forth for about 20 times.
That's a lot.
And then I decided You know what? I think I'm going to live here because as soon as I would return back to the States, he would be contacting me again to come back again. So I was like, it's such a long trip. I think I want to learn another culture. It would be interesting. And so I said, I'll give it a shot.
Now, the name, Ibaka. Tell us about your name. It's very interesting, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The name Ibaka means to embrace, to encourage, which is really who Ibaka is, who I am as my character. I love encouraging people and embracing people from all walks of life. And I was in, depression is real. As we see a lot of people who suffer from depression.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful because there was a particular time in my life where I was depressed. I was very depressed. And during that time of my depression, I always read the Word. But that particular morning, I was reading from the book of Habakkuk. And it's a very small chapter in the Bible, 4 chapters actually. And I was reading from the book of Ibaka 3:19. And that woke me up. It was like the light bulb went off, and I knew I didn't need to be depressed anymore. And so in order to remember that experience, I said I was going to take on the name Ibaka. And of course, I changed it from Habakkuk to Ibaka to make it very easy for people to pronounce and spelling and all that sort of thing. But that is actually the origin of the word Habakkuk, of my name Habakkuk. It comes from that right there. The basics was from the book of Habakkuk 3:19. And after really researching, I found out that the Habakkuk was a prophet, and he was the chief director of music.
Wow, that's ironic.
It is ironic. So I was like, it's perfect for me. And so I get to give that testimony as well when people ask. A lot of people always want to know, what does Ibaka mean and what a name? It's very different, very particular, like you said.
And I'm really glad that you mentioned depression because there is just a global situation of people being depressed. And the thing about it is that you're this international vocalist that people would not even believe that depression would even be a thought for you. But it
would
just
come on my doorstep.
Exactly. But it actually let people know that it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, that anyone could fall into that state of depression because it is a state of mind, state of being.
It is. It's a state of mind.
Yeah.
And what really saved me was I wrote that quote, that passage 3:19 down on about 100 sticky notes, and I put them all over the house wherever I would think I would be walking, and so that I could read it wherever I was going. And it just really brought me out, and I've been okay ever since.
Well, I'm glad you shared it because a lot of people keep those things to themselves. So you could actually help someone by letting them know that it's not the end of end the world, that you can get help, and you can come out of that state. But I want to know what happened to you to make you think that you, Ibaka, would never sing again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I fell out of a window from the 2nd floor in Italy.
Wow. Oh, my.
And talk about a traumatic experience, a freak accident. It was a freak accident in the summertime, and I fell out of the window trying to remove a Venetian blind that was very old, and I was on the very top of the ladder, and I fell out of the window. So I really thought I was not going to ever sing again because, of course, as I was falling out of the window, I thought I was actually falling to my death. And then, of course, from the traumatic fall, I just always, for about a month or so, I was just crying like every 3 minutes because from thinking of all of the things that could have taken place.
Right.
And I'm so grateful because, I could have been in a wheelchair, I could have been dead, I could have been, all sorts of things could have gone on where I would not have been able to sing again. And ironically, falling out of the window, I had a concert the very next day, and I actually went and did my concert.
Wow. Now, talking about strength, and I know you said that you use, you had an herbalist, you use natural products to help you recover from your injury. Now, we're not saying that we're doctors or everybody can go out there and try the herbal products, because of course they should always check with their physician first. But what actually worked for Ibaka during that time?
Well, what actually worked for me for that time is my shoulders were out of socket. I couldn't lift my arms or anything. I went to the hospital, of course, and they wanted to operate, but I have, since I was 19, I've always been a natural girl and using natural teas and herbs and that sort of thing. So I sought out for homeopathic healing. And I was able to find a homeopathic sports physician, and I brought him my x-rays, and he took a look at it, and he said he believed that he would be able to heal me without me having to have surgery. And so it was a very long process, about 6 months process, and also getting lots of massage therapy, hot oil body treatments, and also on my neck, hot oil treatments, stretching, all sorts of things, because from the fall, also not only was my shoulder out of socket, but my entire chest, all of the muscle tissue was stripped. And so there was nothing they could do about that, because of the body has to heal on its own from that part. And so that had to heal on its own, and the massage therapy really helped that to heal.
So I know you mentioned to me that 6 years ago you were stricken with pneumonia, and then you found out something very interesting when you were down with pneumonia. Can you tell our viewers what that was?
Yes, I found out through a MRI, because I had been in the hospital for a week under antibiotics, and nothing was working. So they did an MRI to see actually what was going on and why the antibiotics they were giving me were not working. And they found out that I had one lung larger than the other. And they told me that that I had it actually from birth. But being that I had never ever been that sick before, there was no way for me to know. And they said the only way I would ever be able to find that out is through an MRI under an urgent circumstance like that. And so now they told me that whenever if I get sick with the cold or the flu or bronchitis or any of that sort of thing where there's a lot of mucus, then that mucus has to be tested so that they can give me the proper antibiotic.
Okay.
Due to the fact that I have one lung larger than the other.
So I want to find out, how do you keep your voice healthy? But then I want you to sing a little a cappella before we actually wrap this up, if you don't mind. So going into how do you keep the voice healthy, but then also letting the viewers know just what you can do with those vocals.
Yes, well, what I do is I am a tea drinker, and there's a tea that I actually, I tell you, it has been the coating of the voice, and Echinacea, I know that's not what it's called. Something.
Echinacea.
Echinacea, exactly. I always call it that. I'm always making my own name.
Right.
Echinacea, slippery elm. You can look those up as well because they are ancient herbs that help to soothe the throat and coat the throat, and those are the things that I use. And there's another tea called burdock root, and I use that tea, and of course ginger, also ginger root, and these are things that you may have ginger at home in the cabinet, but you can make a tea out of it so easily, and it's very good for you, and it cleans your sinuses, keeps you, but the burdock root cleanses the bloodstream, which is very important. And being a vocalist, you always want to be free of a lot of mucus in your body. So I'm always thinking about that as well. And as a matter of fact, I've always, journalists always write that my voice is very crystal clear. So, but those are the things. And of course, honey, your local honey. Wherever you live, you want to find your local honey, and that would be the best honey for you at that time. And then I did find out as well, through having this ailment of one lung larger than the other, that when you have the change of seasons, or even if you're traveling somewhere in another foreign place, or when you arrive, you want to get a immune builder, like with something with a lot of vitamin C, and you want to take that immune builder in the change of the season for normally the ones I take are natural, and they're vials, it's liquid, and it's for 14 days straight. And I take those like when I go to Italy. I'm getting ready to go to Italy, as a matter of fact. On Monday. And so when I arrive in Italy, I will always go to the herbal store, and I would get that immune builder and take that for the first 14 days so that I will not get sick. And actually that's what the doctors told me to do to help prevent me from getting pneumonia again, or coming down really, really sick.
Okay, so before wrapping up, can you sing just a little bit, just a little intro for people, so at the credits, of course, they'll be able to find out where you perform, where they can buy your products, especially these beautiful glasses that you have customized in Italy. And you also have, I love this, Ibaka, and it's Heritage Blue, which is awesome. So they can purchase your products on Etsy, and they'll find you all over the place, Facebook and Instagram. Exactly. So the credits will show that. But if you could just sing a little bit before I say goodbye to
Oh my God.
Just a little. I know it's 40 degrees out here in Nevada, but
Do you hear that? It is 40 degrees here in Nevada. Okay, would you believe that? I have a hat on and I've got gloves, okay?
All right.
But
real quick.
My God, what can I sing?
Just very quickly.
Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in the heart of town. Oh, ain't no love, and ain't it a pity? Ain't no love since you ain't around.
All right now. All right, guys. I want to thank you for watching the show. I hope this is an inspiration to people to let you know, regardless of what your ailments are and what you're diagnosed with, it doesn't have to be the end of be all. You can definitely, do what you need to do and stay positive and live your life. Don't let your illness define who you are. And because Ibaka is very fluent in Italian, I am going to say thanks for watching. Until next time, stay positive, be blessed, and into the next year, you hear that bell? That's what I'm talking about. Into the next year, we're going to be international. So can you say bye to all the people that's watching?
Ok, grazie a tutti, ci vediamo presto, and questo è proprio italiano. The bell is ringing, the chimes are ringing, so grazie a tutti, un grande bacione.
All right. And on that note, the bells just took us on out.
Thank you, Dorothea.
Thank you,
I wanna call her
Ibaka.
Dorothea. Thank you,
That's okay.
Dorothea.
Mwah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, bello.
Ciao.